Button.
Good afternoon. It's so nice to see everyone here with us in our Zoom room and live stream and YouTube as well. Happy birthday, Philip. I see you in the mix here. We are spending the month in Israel, which is a fantastic place to be virtually if you can't be there personally. Israel's been so much in the news, as we've seen, especially with the vaccine and the success with that. And so we devoted this month to looking at Israel in this time of COVID in 4 different areas over the month. Last week, we had with us Dr. Eilat Shinar, who's the head of Magen David Adom in Israel and deals with the blood supply. It was incredibly interesting information. And this week, I'm so excited because we have someone who's really become a dear friend to me. Before I read you his formal bio, Avner Avraham was one of the honorees at our Project Nuremberg Lawyers Luncheon, the last one in person. He was there with Ben Ferens, the last living prosecutor from Nuremberg, and John Barrett. Avner was there because he, in his work, has declassified the Eichmann trial materials that led to the making of the movie Operation Finale about the capture of Eichmann. And that's how he came to us originally, but he's truly become a friend of Temple Bethel. He's been with us several times in person, and God willing will be with us in person once again. And he's become a friend personally to me as well. And I learn so much from him every time he's with us and just adore him. And so I'm so thrilled he could join us today to talk about espionage, his area of work, and delve into what it is like during this time, especially, but writ large as well. And so Avner Avraham, Lieutenant Colonel, former Mossad officer, is a world-renowned expert in Mossad operations, a lecturer, an exhibition films producer, curator, and writer. He actually just started a business, spylegends.com, with his son as well. So if you're looking for a speaker for an event, large or small, you can visit spylegends.com, and I'll put the link in the chat. He is known worldwide for his work on Operation Finale, the story behind Eichmann's capture and trial. He was a senior advisor to the Hollywood film Operation Finale, filmed in Argentina, and also known for this exhibition on Operation Entebbe. He holds a bachelor's in computer and a master's in business administration, and graduated in museology and curatorial studies at Tel Aviv University. He served as a major in the IDF, a detective in the Israeli police on a volunteer basis, and he edits and broadcasts weekly radio programs. He's on media all around the world. He's an incredible curator. He will find and gather and bring together unbelievable items that tell the story behind spy missions. And he is also an artist as well, and just an incredible human being. So Avner, it is a joy to have you with us here today. Welcome.
Thank you, Rabbi Jessica, and good afternoon to everybody in Boca Raton, in the state, maybe in other places. I retired 6 years ago from the Mossad. I'm 56 years old, so I'm a young retired man. And I will talk a little bit about my life and about the COVID-19, about the spy world. But I have some samples here. One of them is this passport. I want you to look at this passport. And this is a Sudanian passport with the three Ethiopian Jews came together with these passports to Israel. It's a refugee passport, okay? So the people in the Mossad said, if we have 3 people in the passport, why don't we do this? And we can send 10 people in the same passports. So in these passports, 300 people came to Israel. Now, we got some problem with in the Mossad that we don't have the pen. You see here, there is a place to write the names of the kids. So you need a special pen. So I'm going to show you the pen. This is the pen. Now, the idea is, in a very creative way, how can you get this pen? Because you need that the pen will be exactly the same. So usually we think about, we are trying to take it from them or to have the same pen. But if you try to think in the opposite way, the Mossad bought 200 Parkers and he just sent them as a gift to the Sudanians, and they started to use our pens. That's why we got the same pen, okay? So sometimes if you think different, you can find very creative solutions. Now I'm going to run my presentation. And unfortunately, yesterday, a good friend of mine, Shlomo Hillel, passed away. He was 97 years old. He was a Mossad agent, and he was the one that was the chief of the operation to bring the Iraqi Jews to Israel on 1950. Almost 130,000 Iraqi Jews flew to Israel. And I want you to look at this Iraqi Jew. He grew up in Iraq. And when he was 11 years old, he came to Israel. And he became a part of the Haganah and the Palmach and also the Mossad. And I want you to think about him flying with the fake British passports to Iraq and meeting the Prime Minister of Iraq. And he coming like the owner of an international flight company. And he make a deal with the Prime Minister that he will be the one that will fly all the Jews to Cyprus, not to Israel. Now, when he left Iraq when he was 11 years old, so the Prime Minister can you call the chief of the Iraqi community, the chief of the Jewish community? I want him to come now immediately to my house. And the chief of the Jewish community was his cousin. And he said, oh my God, he's going to recognize me because he didn't see me. I was 11 years old, but now he's the he's the head of the Jewish community. But he didn't. And think about our Mossad agent coming undercover and just pray to God, I hope he will not recognize me because I'm his cousin. And the Prime Minister told him, I don't want you to take the Jews to Israel. I want you to take them to Jerusalem. So I'm going to send in every plane Iraqi officer that will make sure that you don't fly to Israel. So they flew to Cyprus, this is the first flight, and the Mossad agents took the Iraqi officer, they took him to a bar, and they bought for him a nice girl. And in the morning, in the meantime, they flew to Israel and sent all the Iraqi Jews to Israel. And then the empty plane flew back to Cyprus. And in the morning, he woke up, went to the airport. They took him to the airport, and he flew back to Iraq. So Shlomo Hillel, rest in peace. So this is me. In Purim, I was 3 years old, and the next picture is this one. And I wonder why I jumped directly to the IDF. I was officer in the IDF, and I think the reason is that I didn't like the school. I didn't like the school. I didn't like to do homework. I didn't like history. I didn't like anything. And today I became expert in history, and I think it's because I like objects. I like original objects from operations, original objects, antique. I'm also a collector of things, but I think that the turning point in my life was when I became a soldier, and then officer in the IDF. And before I became officer, I started the course, and I got a problem that I need to wait 2 months. And they told me, look, you have two options. You can wait 2 months and to join the course, or you can go back to your unit and you will not be officer. I said, okay, I want to wait. So they decided to send me to Lebanon as a soldier, but they told me, look, it will be different. You are not going to fly or to drive to Lebanon. You are not going to use any uniform or anything that related to Israel, because you are Iraqi Jew and you can speak Arabic. You are going to join the Mossad as a soldier. I was 19 years old only. I came to the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv, and I flew. They took me with a small bus to Haifa, and from Haifa we flew with the small helicopter, and we landed north of Beirut. And in the dark, a black Mercedes came, and they took me. Someone gave me a gun. Someone took from me my handbag, and I was there for almost a month in a very luxury villa with all the Mossad agents. And I'm only 19 years old. And after a while, they offered me to be to join the Mossad. And two days after I finished my military service, I started to work for Mossad. And here we have a picture from Africa in 1989. I was 24 years old in Mombasa, in Kenya. And I married on 1990, and I moved with my wife to Cairo, Egypt. And I was there for 3.5 years. You can see me there in a mosque. I was very, very thin. And then on 1994, when we started the peace agreement with the Jordanian, I was the first one that came to Jordan to establish the new embassy. And you can see me, by the way, I'm not smoking, but it's just for the picture, sitting with the old-fashioned jacket in a famous restaurant in Jordan. Then I started to walk all over the world. Again, in Kenya, sometimes you need to know, when you ask, can you bring me the menu? They don't understand you, so they bring you the real menu. So that's why I'm holding here the menu from the restaurant. On 2000, I came to Camp David Summit near Maryland, and I took part in the peace agreement process as a Mossad agent. And on 2016, I met Michel Bakos. Michel Bakos was the pilot. If you remember Operation Entebbe, he was the pilot, and I met him because I made exhibit about Operation Entebbe.
Avner, can you tell people, not everyone knows what Operation Entebbe is. Can you tell
Yes. So Operation Entebbe was on 1976 when Air France plane hijacked to Uganda, if you remember, and Idi Amin Dada was the president, and 256 hostages, and maybe one of the biggest commando operation ever. the IDF with the Mossad made a huge operation, and they flew to Uganda and released all the hostages. We lost Jonathan Netanyahu. He was the chief of the commando unit, and he was brother of Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel. Now, I told you that I'm collecting stuff, I'm collecting objects. I used to do the same in the Mossad, and I made a small exhibition in the Mossad headquarters 10 years ago about the capture of Eichmann. It was the 50 years anniversary of the trial, exactly 10 years ago. And Prime Minister Netanyahu saw the exhibition. He said, "Why don't you come to the Knesset, to the Israeli parliament with your exhibition?" I said, "Yes, I will." And it was the first time that the Mossad made any kind of a spy exhibition, and it was in the parliament. I was there for a month. Here in the picture, you can see the Shimon Peres. He was the president. And it was a huge success. And the chief of Mossad told me, "I want you to build a museum because you are going to retire in 3 years. So take this project and build a museum for us." And the second exhibition was about Operation Entebbe. Now, I told you that I like objects, but I also like big monuments, or, for example, in Operation Finale, I decided to bring one of the cars that took part in the movie. So here you can see one of the cars, and think that this car is inside the Jewish Museum or the Diaspora Museum in Tel Aviv, okay? And people told me, "You are crazy. Are you going to enter with the car inside the museum?" I said, "Yes, I want to do something big." And very, very, very impressive. Now, a little bit about what I'm doing. After I retired from Mossad, I decided to design and to produce coins, medals that related to the spy operations. The first medal that we made was about the capture of Adolf Eichmann, and in the right side you can see the front of the coin, and the idea is that there is a lot of information in the coin. For example, you can see the neighborhood. You can even read the name of the street, Garibaldi Street. You can see the house in Garibaldi Street. You can see the El Al plane. There is also some codes like Dibuk. It was one of the code names that the Mossad used for Eichmann. And the idea was to teach students and to talk about the operation in a different way, in a creative way. So people buying these coins, and the coin comes with the brochure, and they can learn about the operation. So already we made already 7 different coins, most of them during the COVID-19 days. This is another one, Operation Diamond. And when we produce a coin, we also find the heroes. For example, if I say something about Operation Diamond, it was on 1966. The first Russian MiG-21 landed in a Western country, landed in Israel. And it was Iraqi Christian pilot that decided to escape from Iraq. So the Mossad met him only once in Europe, and the Mossad smuggled the family to Israel, and he just flew directly from Iraq to Israel. And I can tell you, after a few months, the US Army officers, some of the leaders came, some of the big major generals came to Israel, and they said, "We want this MiG. We need the information because we need it for Vietnam." So the Mossad sent the chief pilot to the state, and he sat for a few weeks in the U.S. Army Air Force base, and he teach them how to fight. And it was a huge success for the United States. But then he told them, now I want you to help the state of Israel. We are a young country and we need your help, and we need some missiles. And the United States helped, of course, Israel. So this pilot, by the way, he's 97 years old, and I just met him 2 days ago. And when we make the coin, we also meet the heroes, and we make pictures with them and interviews, and the media always ask me about the new coins. So this is a different way to promote the coins. Here you can see all the coins. We have 6. Actually, we have 7. In this, you can see only 6 of them. So I spoke about Operation Diamond. We have Operation Entebbe, Operation Finale, Operation Ezra and Nehemiah is the smuggling the Iraqi Jews to Israel. We have Operation Brothers. Operation Brothers is a few different operations to bring to Ethiopian Jews to Israel, and we have Operation Opera to destroy the nuclear site in Baghdad, Iraq. Now, I can tell you, for example, that in Operation Entebbe, 4 hostages were killed during the release operation, and I decided to mention the first letter of each one of them in Hebrew and in English in the front of the coin, because it was important to me to talk about these people. Most of the people in Israel don't know the names of these victims. So that's why it's a kind of a special way to teach. Now, 2 years ago, I became the chief curator of El Al. And here you can see in one of the archive room, you can see some original stuff from El Al, like the suitcase from the 50s and like hat. And amazing. And unfortunately, because of the COVID-19, they cannot pay me anymore. But I decided even to do it without any payment. I will help them, because I think that even if today El Al is not a company that belongs to the government, El Al is a private company, but still, for many Israelis, and for them, El Al is part of the national. It's the national airline. So I made a few exhibitions for El Al, and one of the exhibition is bringing Jews from all over the world. And here you can see Yemen Jews on 48 Yemen Jews, and you can see the Near East air transportation. It was a U.S. a company and worked together with El Al, and you can see that they use 4 seats instead of 3 seats. They put a wood chairs, so they can put 4 people in each line. And this is also a picture from a different exhibition, and I'm sure you saw, many of you saw the Argo. Did you see the Argo movie? So this is the El Al office, main office in Tehran, Iran. And you can see that the local people destroying El Al offices in Tehran. It was in the day when the Khomeini landed in Tehran. Okay, so this is an exhibition about the security, and it started from this. Another thing is to build a museum. I designed a museum inside the plane, okay, inside the plane, and El Al sent me to Frankfurt. There is 1 hour from Frankfurt. There is a museum that they built inside all the plane. And the idea is to move all the chairs and to use the space, for example, for vitrines that you can put original stuff, cinema, and things like this. Now, I told you about the MiG. When I made the exhibit about the diamond operation and the MiG, I decided to bring a real Russian MiG to the Mossad headquarters. And now it sounds very crazy, but I spoke with the chief of Mossad. I told him, I got an idea. We have a few MiG-21 near the Ben Gurion airport, and we can try to bring one of them to the Mossad headquarters. And he told me, okay, you know what? It sounds crazy, but let me know how much it will cost. But it was too expensive for the Mossad, and they decided not to do it. In the right side, you can see a picture of Benjamin Netanyahu when he came to Rabin Center in Tel Aviv. And Rabin Center, it was the first time that he came officially to the Rabin Center to see the exhibition about Operation Entebbe. And for this exhibit, he gave me his brother battle vest. And I put the original battle vest of his brother, that he lost his brother there. And I knew that he will come to the opening of the event. And he came. Oops. Now, 2 years ago, I decided to make a show, a real show. I decided to call the show The Mossad, The Operations, and the Songs. And I took one of the famous singers in Israel and also a musician. And it looks like a band. And I was the storyteller. And between the operations, the singer and the band played. It was a very big success. But unfortunately, we came to Tzafta. Tzafta is a very, very nice place in Tel Aviv, but it was a few days before the state of Israel, the prime minister decided to make a lockdown, and because of the COVID-19. So I'm waiting with my show. Maybe at the end of this year, we will come back. And now I'm going to talk about a little bit about my Spy Legends agency. And at the beginning, I came with the idea to call it Spy Operations. And a good friend of mine from New York told me, try Spy Legends. And I wanted to tell you, if you ever want to build build a new company and you want to have a website, start with the website, okay? Before you decide about the name, make sure that the domain name is free, okay? So when the domain name is free and available, buy it. And then you can build your own website. Now, I used to fly a lot, and I met Rabbi Jessica in Boca a few times, and it was a great time for me until the COVID-19. So I'm finding myself sitting at home in Herzliya, doing nothing. I cannot fly, I cannot lecture. And then I heard about the Zoom. It was on April last year. And my agency, I spoke with my agency, and they said, we don't have any work for you now. So I decided to establish my own agency. If you cannot help me, I will help myself, and I will build my own agency. Now, I didn't have any speaker, so I tried to make a phone calls to the most famous former spies. Hey, good morning, how are you? Look, I already have almost 100 people that want to be. Would you like to be? Yes. Okay. And each one of them, when he said yes, I took his picture and his name, and I start slowly. It took me almost 2 months to build the website. And I can tell you, for example, Uri Geller, the mentalist, the famous mentalist, when I came to Jaffa to meet him, he said, no, you are not, you don't have your company, it's too small for me, no, I don't want. And after 2 months, I just sent him a picture of the website, of the main page like this. And he said, yes, I want to be part of your agency. So now we have 250, more than 250 speakers. And I can tell you, for example, when I saw in Netflix, what's the name of the television series about the Czech? Gambit? Yeah. So I spoke with Susan Polgard. She lives in. She was the world champion in Czech, and she lives in. She's a Hungarian Jewish woman, and she lives in New York. And I met her in New York, and I asked her if she wanted to be part of my agencies, and she said yes. And I decided also to start to have not only people from Mossad, a former spy. I said, I want to be an international agency. So I start to look for former CIA, former FBI, and even Rabbi Jessica made the introduction to a former police detective. And slowly we became the biggest agency in Israel. And now we decided to, as you can see, it's in English, but we decided to translate it to Hebrew. And we also translated to Arabic. And we are supporting more than 10 different languages. But we have also more things. For example, we have speakers. Basically, we have speakers, but you remember the coins. So we decided to add a shop, and we are selling now coins. And we decided also, wait a minute. We decided also to promote ourselves and to put a media page that shows all the interviews and the TV program that they made about our agency. But I think maybe the biggest achievement for me is the guy that you see in the left side. It's my son, Nov, and he became the CEO of this company, and I'm very proud of him. And actually, he's the one that he's my manager. He tells me what to do and where to lecture. And you can see that if you recognize the Russian letters, the Russian TV decided to make a special TV show with us, and they made an interview with us. And of course, I called him. I told him I want you to be part of the show. And I told them, look, I have more than 250 talents. We can work together. So now we are going to do every month a special program about spy and security. And the people in our agency, some of them former spy, but we have also actors, famous actors like Tzachi Alevi that played in Fauda. So we decided to take it to different places, not only a real spy. We have also scriptwriters, producers, authors. We have professors from a university that expert in the Middle East and Iran. And now I want to show you my second agency, Women Speakers Online. As I told you, first you have to find a available domain name. Now, Women Speakers Online, I came today, I tried to find more women to my agency. And unfortunately, I found that it's very difficult in Israel to find many former chief of spy operations, and most of them are men. But when I tried to find a woman to my spy agency, I met so many great women, and I decided to take all of them. First of all, to take maybe like 40, 45 women from my spy agency as the base. And then I started to find famous actors, singers, ambassadors, whatever, everything from not only about spy, about every topic. And I established also a very big agency called Women Speakers Online. We have almost 300 women in our agency. But it's not only lectures. We have also singers, stand-up show, and also tour. If you come to Israel and you want a special tour in Tel Aviv or in Jaffa or Jerusalem, you will find in our agency, and it's only women. And I can tell you that there is unemployment actors, and many people lost her job because of the COVID-19. So now we are helping them to be a lecturer, and they can talk about it. They can teach. For example, actor can teach you how to be an actor, how to make your dream come true. A scriptwriter can teach people how to write a film. Okay, and for the women that don't men also that they cannot handle with the Zoom, or they don't know exactly, we send the people with the motorcycle. They are coming and they are connecting the laptops, and they help them with the Wi-Fi and the camera and the microphone and everything, and we teach them and help them how to be a lecturer. And we believe that anyone can talk, and everybody can be lecturers. Now, I just want to show you this small suitcase. This is a special mobile exhibition that we designed in our company. And our lecturers, when they have a real show, not by Zoom, they are coming with this kind of suitcase, and they have all the articles, documents, pictures, passports, and they can show, and they can also make a small exhibition in the event. So it's not only a speaker with a PowerPoint, it's also a special exhibition. Now, so I told you about my son, that he became the CEO of the spy agency, and my lovely daughter, she became the deputy of the Women Speakers Agency. She's a student. She's 23 years old, and she's doing every morning when she wake up, she need to spend 1 hour in all the website page and Instagram and everything, and she just have to post. And I told her, for example, I want you every morning to pick one of our speakers. He will be the speaker of the day. I want you to put his picture, put a link to his profile card, and write something. And she also, when we have a special event, for example, we have Rosh Hashanah, we have Passover, and she taking the people that related to this topic, and she tried to find for them lectures. This is one of my part of my art. The original size is like a postcard size, and I used to do it when I flying from airport to airport all over the world. I used to do it with this pencil and the watercolor and I will talk about art in the future. And the last thing is about my radio show. You can see a few pictures from my live radio show. And now I'm going to start another hour every week, and I will call it the voice of the lecturers. It's in Hebrew is Kol HaMartzim, the voice of the lecturers. And I will bring from my 400 lecturers, I will bring every week 2 or 3 people that they can talk about something, and they can also promote themselves. So I think we have 40 minutes. We finished, Rabbi Jessica.
Yeah. So Avner, it's amazing to hear, and I think a lot of people have done this, how they've pivoted during COVID and did things that they never imagined before, and you did with the agency. But what is espionage? What is spying looking like during this time? What are
Okay.
Israel's dangers? I don't know if you want to address like the vaccine a little bit and the choice that the that was made about whether to use Israeli product or not in other areas, and talk a little bit like what are dangers right now that might not have been otherwise, and just what's going on with spying in Israel and the Middle East right now with COVID.
Okay, so first of all, if we talk about the espionage world, we have special connections with different agencies around the world. For example, if 61 years ago we needed to smuggle Eichmann to Israel in a huge operation, today we can just make a phone call to the chief of the spy agency in Buenos Aires and tell them, look, there is a guy, he lives in this address, and we just want you to send him to Israel for a trial. So the cooperation today between agencies is very, very strong. Okay, the CIA and the CIA in the state, the MI5, MI6 in London, Mossad, and also different agencies. If we look at the chief of Mossad today, Joseph Cohen, you can read about him almost every day in the newspaper. He was the first Israeli that met the new president, Biden. He was the first one. He was behind all the peace agreements that you saw with the 5 different countries. So actually, the spy agency, the spy world is more than some of it is like a foreign affair in this time. And think about how many enemies became close to Israel because they are looking for the economy and they need help and they need the help of the state. And at the end of the day, I believe that most of the people want to live in a good life and health. But unfortunately, there is a places, for example, if we take Iran, they are building a nuclear sites in different places. And they said, we are going to destroy Israel with our nuclear sites. And we have a mission to fight and to make and to destroy every nuclear site that they are planning to build. So we do it all the time in a different ways. Sometimes you can read about it, or you can see about it in the television. But the spy world changed so much because I think because of the internet and the Instagram and the television and the cables. So today it's different. It's different. For example, you want to help people in Iran that want to communicate with us. They want to change. They want help from outside. So we try to help them. And some of them sends. Sometimes you can see that they send video clips from inside, from different places. Sometimes you can find from Syria, from Lebanon. For example, if we take Lebanon, we have a very big enemy in the north of Israel, in south of Lebanon, Hezbollah. And Hezbollah actually destroying Lebanon today, and they just a few days ago, they killed a journalist. And I saw today a live show in Lebanon that one of the people that broadcast, he just said, we know that Hezbollah killed our friend. So we are trying to, in Israel, we have to fight all the time, all the years, because we have a lot of enemies, and the spy world is different. If you're familiar with the name Eli Cohen, he was one of the famous Mossad agents, and he was in Syria, and unfortunately, the Syrian found that he's a spy, and they hanged him, and we are trying to find his remains until today. But you don't need to send a Jewish agent to Arab states. Okay, it's too dangerous. If you have a goal, if you have a mission, for example, remember the pen that I showed you with the passports. The mission is to bring Ethiopian Jews to Israel as much as possible. So if we send 10 people in the same passport, it's great. Now, we need the pen, but it's not about the pen. We need to smuggle them with one passport, so we need the names in the passports. We don't need the pen, we need the names in the passport. We need that the names in the passports will match the same color of pen that they use, exactly the same. So it's not about the pen. If you need to ask the opposite question. If you said, I need this pen, I need to find how I'm getting this pen. Maybe I have to go there and take from them a few pens. No, you have to think exactly what you need. What is your goal? And if, for example, I'm talking about Operation Entebbe, when they capture Eichmann, the goal for Ben-Gurion was to make a trial against a famous Nazi in Jerusalem. Ben-Gurion didn't want to find all the Nazis or to kill all the Nazis. He said, I want to make a big trial in Jerusalem, and I will do it only once. And I want, for the first time, to tell the whole story of the Holocaust for all the people around the world. And Eichmann was a good example because he was the architect of the Holocaust. So they decided to bring him. Now, during the operation, after they captured Eichmann, they found that Mengele lives in Buenos Aires. They found the address. And they came to the chief of Mossad and told him, we want to bring Mengele together with Eichmann in the same plane. And he said, and the agency, no, we are not going to do it because the mission is to bring one Nazi for one trial. We can find Mengele and kill him after, but the mission, we have to think about the mission. So now with the COVID-19, the Mossad is a spy operation, is a spy agency that works outside Israel. We don't work inside Israel, and you cannot fly. So it's very, very complicated to make some things. But there is a way to do things, and you always need to focus on the goal. What is the goal? And I believe that if you are changing the plans all the time and do it almost every day, you can reach the goals in a different way. I can also tell you that the Mossad helped the state of Israel to with the COVID-19 to bring, for example, equipments and to bring special things from special places, and to build the special machines that can help you for hospitals, and because the mission is to help and to help the hospitals if they don't have enough places. The US, for example, the IDF helped in the Haredic neighborhoods. They came with the food because most of them couldn't make any shopping, anything. So the IDF came. So the Mossad also support this operation. So if we talk about, again, if we talk about espionage, it's not only espionage is the way that you do your work, but at the end of the day, you need to think about the goal. What is your goal?
What are your obligations as a retired Mossad agent? Like, do you have certain things you have to keep secret? Have you gotten in trouble? Have you revealed things? Because now your job is kind of give an inside look at spying, but there's things about spying, you don't want Israel's enemies to know. So what are your obligations? Like, is there a code of ethic, like midot or ethics or something that you have to go by? And are you still consulted by the Mossad or agents still, like, is it something you're always a part of in a way?
So, we are talking, for example, if we talk about Operation Finale, it was 61 years ago. And after 50 years, you can talk about some operations, but here we have 61 years, and also Operation Entebbe was in 76, and Operation Diamond was in 66. So first of all, it's very, very old. And now, if you look also in the television series, I'm consulting spy movies, and you can see a former spy that talk about the Arab leaders. They talk about different operations, and in some cases, it's the Mossad is behind this. The Mossad cooperate with the producers because he want to show something from our legacy. So it can help us to find more people that will be asked to be agents in Mossad. Okay, so that's why you need to make some documentary, for example, films, and cooperate and give some historical documents, so you can be still relevant. Because if you keep everything in a secret, you cannot bring the next generation. Okay, if you want people that will dream to be a spy, it's not enough to make a James Bond movies.
I want to ask, are you, do you have like a failed mission or something that like was just very disappointing that happened either in your experience with a Mossad or a story that you teach and talk about? Eli Cohen's one of them. There's the special about him. There's a great book about him called Our Man in Damascus too. And how do you prepare for how are you prepared for a difficult situation? Like if something's going to go wrong, is like, how do you make these decisions about what to do? I hear what you're saying about like, what's the goal, but what happens when something goes wrong or fails? And does anything come to mind?
So first of all, they teach you to be creative, and they teach you not to be afraid to tell what you think. And I can give you a small example. One day I was in a special course, and the chief of Mossad came to meet us, and we were only 12 agents. And he looked at the wall, and he saw the list of the values that we believe in the Mossad. And he said that I don't take any new agents to the Mossad if they don't believe in our values. So I told him, I'm afraid that they see this list only when they start the first day to work and they see this list of values. So he told me, so you have any suggestion what to do? I told him, look, it's not secret. We can put it in the website. So if you go today to the Mossad website, you will see the list of our values. The idea is, first of all, not to be afraid, to be creative, and to think about all the small details. It's all about small details. You need to plan everything. You need to plan A, plan B, plan C. What are you doing? For example, what is your goal? You need to come, you need to fly to this place, and then you have to find someone else, and you need to communicate, and you need to take this and send this and come back. So you have you check all the ideas, all the information. For example, you can come as a tourist at the beginning and to see the place and to learn about the place. The idea is to do many things every day in different places without connection to operation. For example, you need to know places, hotels, airports, custom. You need to try to for example, to fly with something and to check if they find, for example, we used to come to airport with different stuff and to try to see if the security can find it, okay, and you can see if we can hide things. So it's all about planning and to be perfect in everything. And sometimes you have to come. Usually we have a problem and we try to find solutions. But I was in a unit that came with solutions and tried to find problems. Think about it. Okay? So sometimes you can go to a gadget shop and you can find very nice ideas and say, this is a very nice idea, but I have to find a problem for this. And then you find the problem and then you can use it. So that's basically the idea. So I wonder, yes.
I think that a lot of the characteristics you're talking about are so relevant to the time we're living in. Just like figuring out a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. The ability to be creative and figure out what's next. I have found myself personally like looking at Jewish history and looking at Israel and looking in order to find my own strength and going forward at this time. I want to end. It's our last question, then we're out of time. What's been your best day and your worst day of the pandemic?
Okay, so the best day was when I decided to go online with the agency. It was a very big day for me. And the worst day was, I think a few days ago, because we were here. I'm living by myself in the COVID-19, in the lockdown for almost 40 days, and you cannot drive more than 1 kilometer from your place, and so most of the time you are sitting at home. And I think that something happened to you. I mean, even if you wake up late and you can go shopping or go to the pharmacy, that's all. But something happened to us. Something, I think that I feel that like I became maybe a little bit sad, or maybe something happened to my body. I cannot explain it. And today is 2 days ago. Today is Tuesday. 2 days ago, I just took the car and I just start to drive for 2 hours and to look at the people and to go to different places. And suddenly you feel like someone that was in a prison, but it's not only your body, it's your soul. It's your soul.
I hear you. It's every day is, like even though you had this career, it still doesn't prepare you for a time like this. It may make you think differently in a time like this and be more creative. Well, we feel very connected to you, and hopefully, even if we're not physically in the same room, you are a dear friend of ours and of Temple Bethel, and I can't thank you enough for the insight. Our congregant Naomi Danish is on your roster, and hopefully she gets booked a lot. She was a former narcotics undercover agent, and I love that you're doing the whole agency for women as well. That's really important. I want to thank our producer Ross, who's so awesome every week, just giving his best. Avner, I want to thank you I want to wish you much success. I hope you get, I see Tammy Revette. There's a woman we're hoping to have for our lawyers luncheon in the spring of 2022, God willing. And I see her face. She's like the Barbara Walters of Israel. Her father was the head of the Eichmann trial, Gideon Hausner. So I was happy to see her face there. And next week we have a special session about graffiti and Israel. And we're going to have a special guest from Miami as well, Serge Toussaint, and look at graffiti as an expression of how we're feeling, especially during this time, but always during time. So thank you, everyone. Again, Avner, thank you so much. Ross, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
I so appreciate it. Stay safe and well, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.